WIDU listeners, you're tuned in to PWC Connections for June 8th, 2026. I am one of today's hosts. My name is LAMOTH HINSON. I'm a community relations specialist with Fayetteville PWC. We got a full house. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about some of the preparation that is necessary and what's available for our customers with our safe, reliable, and affordable electric service. I have two guests in the house and a surprise guest host with us today, so I'll do my job and introduce everyone. I will start with our guests. First, we have our Director of Electric Operations, Mr. Brandon Huseman.
That's correct.
Brandon, good morning. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining me. Brandon and I were also cohorts in the Greater Fayetteville Chamber Leadership Fayetteville program, so we're definitely familiar with each other. We spent the last couple months together with being colleagues. Our other guest joining us is one of our customer service representatives, Miss Sonia Legale. Good morning, Sonia.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for making time. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Greatly appreciate it. And our surprise co-host today is one of our summer icon students. She is a student at Cumberland Polytechnical High School, Miss Elizabeth Chapman. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning.
Thanks for making time for joining us.
Anytime.
All right, before we get into our topic, I will allow our listeners to get a little familiar with everyone that we have in the studio today, and I'm going to start youngest first. So, Elizabeth, if you would, tell us a little bit about the ICON program and why you decided to participate.
Well, I am a rising sophomore, so this is my first year being an intern with PWC. But so far, I have had all positive interactions and definitely positive work environment. The reason that I wanted to do this, my school was obviously advertising it, but also my brother did it last year. He had a great experience, so I thought, why not?
Great answer. And I'm sure Fayetteville PWC was at the top of the list of organizations to work for. You could be honest.
No.
Oh!
But it was still up there. Just wasn't my first one.
Gotcha. Well, top 3. All right. And you have the whole world in front of you. It's your oyster. But as of right now, what are some of your career aspirations, things that you would like to do as you get older?
Well, I want to get my associates in science because the school that I go to, they don't have veterinary science, animal science. So I'm going to get my associates in science, hopefully by the time I graduate high school, in hopes of becoming a vet.
All right. We're going to be cheering you on and supporting you in whatever way we can. Feel free to jump in today, ask questions of our guests. You are officially one of the co-hosts. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Brandon, if you would. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you arrived at PWC, how long you've been at PWC, and some of the roles and responsibilities of being a director of electric operations.
Yeah, thank you. I, like most people in Fayetteville, I started out in the Air Force. Well, most people in Fayetteville start out in the Army, but I was on Pope. I was here till about 2011, I was stationed, and by that time I worked on my degree in electronics engineering. And so at 2011, when my enlistment was up, I was also graduating college, so I took a chance. I actually started my career at Eaton Corporation out by the airport, and that's kind of where I learned my foundation of electrical engineering. And then roughly 10 years ago, I saw an opening with PwC in their electrical engineering department, and I took a chance, and that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at now.
Wow, you've been with PwC 10 years?
Off and on. I did 3 years at Eaton, then left Eaton, went to PwC, went almost 4 years at PwC, left PwC, went back to Eaton for a supervisor role, and then PwC reached out to me again, and that's kind of how I ended up in operations this time.
Gotcha. Now, you certainly have a distinguished, big-time title. What is it like being the director of electric operations? Do you have the whole city's power in your hands?
I don't like to say I have the whole city's power in my hands, but we are the group that restores power when there's outages. We're the group that ensures power is reliable. We do all the upgrades on the system. So we have, in electric operations, we have about 86 individuals that work in the line department. We got the SCADA department. We also have system operations. So we got our hands in a little bit of everything that's outside in the field.
Right. Never gets boring, I'm sure.
No, it's something different every day.
I got you. All right. I'm going to swing it over to you now, Sonia, if you would. Similar questions. Tell us how you arrived at PwC, how long you've been with PwC, and some of the roles and responsibilities of being a customer service representative.
Okay. I got my real estate license at 19. I got my insurance license at 28. I am a notary, but I don't want the stamp. I get bored.
People will always be asking you, can you notarize this for me?
I get bored fast, so whenever I get bored, I take a class at FTCC to learn something new. I've been doing customer service basically my entire life. And the sad thing about being a customer service rep is people wait too long to reach out for help. So my goal is to teach people how to get out of that hole that they're in and see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because as long as I can tell them, hey, you can do this, have you thought of that, let's try this, they won't feel defeated, because that affects every part of their life. It affects how they interact on their job. It affects how they interact with their children and with the community. I don't want anyone to feel beat up or like they have no way of getting out of the situation they're in.
We on the right station this morning. You are preaching. I say that all the time. Don't wait until there's an issue or a problem to reach out. If there's just an inquiry or you heard something you want to see if it's true or not, those are also opportunities to reach out to our customer service area. Don't wait until you're frustrated to reach out.
Oh, I will talk them down from being frustrated because I give them strategies to help them get to where they need to be, where they want to be, something concrete that they can do. And sometimes, yes, it may take a year to get to where they want to be, but we know with as fast as time is moving right now, you blink, a year is gone.
Absolutely. Very well said. What are some of the day-to-day responsibilities being a CSR? Again, like Brandon, I'm sure it never gets boring.
No, it never gets boring. With the way the economy is, of course, there is a spike in extensions, which we do, and compared to other companies, we have a very liberal extension policy. We will work with you every way we can to help you keep your services and also give you ways of reducing maybe the costs or employing different strategies to help manage the costs and then get out of the situation you're in. Because sometimes people call us when there are 2 bills past due and the new bill's due in 3 days.
Yeah.
And that hits anyone in the gut.
Right. That's the pressure. Again, waiting to the absolute last moment to reach out. I'm glad you're here today. I got the right folks in the studio with me. We are running up against our first break. We're going to come back, jump right into the topic of preparation for safe, reliable, affordable electric service. You are listening to PwC Connections on WIDU Widu Radio. We'll be right back.
Israel and Iran traded fire in their first attack since the U.S. struck a ceasefire with Tehran 2 months ago. The Iranian military, though, said later that it was halting offensive operations as the renewed hostilities threatened to drag the Middle East back into a full-scale war. Fire officials in Rowan County are investigating the cause of a 4-alarm fire in Salisbury that displaced 59 people and over a dozen pets over the weekend. New data shows violent crime in Durham increased in the first quarter of the year. Employment scams have been doubled from 2024 to 2025, with over 23,000 reports flooding into the Better Business Bureau this year compared to about 11,700 the previous year. Officials in Dare County say they are moving forward with a beach replenishment and jetty repair project in Buxton. Mike Rayleigh, NCI News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. A quick note from Cumberland County Schools. The last day of school for year-round calendar students is tomorrow, Tuesday, June 9th. Schools will be dismissed 2 hours early. The city says summer is here. The community pools and splash pads are officially open for the season. Cool off, have fun, make a splash all summer long. Please note that Chalmers Pool is temporarily closed. The city of Fayetteville says more and more guns in North Carolina are being stolen out of parked cars. They say you should secure your firearm with a lock or case, hide it from view, and lock your vehicle every time. Last week, Mayor Mitch Colvin presented the key to the city to Michelle Smith Reardon in honor of her retirement and in grateful recognition of her dedication and commitment to the residents of Fayetteville. Michelle has dedicated over 25 years of her career to serving the community. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
With a cold front working its way through the area, we'll have a chance for some isolated showers and a few storms by this afternoon. And temperatures will be hot, then we're a bit cooler on Tuesday, but then we'll heat up big time through the end of this week. Partly cloudy this morning with temperatures starting in the mid-70s, and we'll see extra cloud cover through this afternoon. Highs reach the mid-90s with a small rain chance, then at around 90 on Tuesday with some brief showers possible and extra cloud cover. I'm meteorologist Grant Skinner in the NCN Weather Center.
Welcome back. You are tuned in to PWC Connections for June 2026. Today's topic, we're talking about safe, reliable, affordable electric service with Fayetteville PWC. We have our guests in the studio, Mr. Brandon Huseman and Sonia Lagali. In our first segment, we opened up by allowing the listeners to get to know them a little bit better. Now we're going to jump directly into the topic. I'm going to swing it over to you, Brandon. You talked a little bit about your role as a director of electric operations, but if you could give our listeners just as simplistic as possible, an overview of the electric operations department and what you all do in terms of delivering electric service for the city and the county.
Okay. Yeah, for the electric operations group, we always say we're from outside the fence. So we have substations group that deals with everything inside the substation fence that you see in the neighborhoods. We take care of everything outside that fence. Mm-hmm. So if it be an outage, our linemen are the first ones to respond. We got the system operators that monitor. They actually monitor inside the fence all the way outside every device we have. And then we actually have the SCADA group who takes care of our network, which is it's kind of like the internet for electric, but there's no internet access. It just monitors all of our field devices. It's about the simplest way to explain it all.
So for those who are familiar and know that you work at PWC, what's some of the feedback you get out in the community about our electric service? And I'll start off by sharing some of the feedback that I receive, as well as giving my own perspective. So we are privy to receiving emails or notifications whenever there's an outage. And typically I see, before we can even type up some type of notification to put on social media, the outage is typically restored. With all that you're responsible for, all the different businesses, residents, the fact that our guys are able to get service restored so quickly, and by comparison, some of the other organizations that are providing electric service, your Duke, your Lumbee, your South River, I hear that sometimes their restoration efforts take a little bit longer. But I know it's all relative, because as much as I can speak highly to it, I also hear customers ask me, why are there so many outages, or what's going on with these flash outages? So I guess balancing it out, what's the feedback that you receive?
Like you stated with Duke and Lumbee, we have the benefit that we are in just Fayetteville city limits. So for them, unfortunately, they're more spread out into the more rural areas. So that's kind of where their timelines come from. Whereas for us, we have crews that are out in the field every day of the week, well, Monday through Friday, because weekend is just on-call crews. So Monday through Friday, we have a crew that's in the field between 6:30 and 3, and then we actually have dedicated service crews that are usually the first ones on the scene when there is an outage, and I have 3 of those. They're essentially each assigned to north and south side of the city, and then we have a third one that kind of roams in between the two as help is needed. But at any given time, even if I have a crew out working, say replacing a pole for upgrading infrastructure, they 9 times out of 10 can pull off what they're doing and go straight to outage. So we can almost throw the entire department at a larger outage when we need to.
Right. What are some of the most common causes of outages?
I know a lot of people aren't gonna like to hear it, but most of the time our outages are caused by squirrels. There's not a lot I can do about them. We put up squirrel guards on transformers. We put them on the fused cutouts, but squirrels like to chew. So even if we put a cover over the fuse or the cutout on the transformer, the squirrels still chew through it and they still decide that today's their day. And as soon as they do, usually I will say the fuse blows and we limit how many customers are out. Sometimes there's an issue where the fuse doesn't go like it's supposed to, and then it will actually blink the whole substation, which means instead of 20 people are out, you end up with like 200 to 300 people out.
We didn't talk about that ahead of time. I try to share that all the time in the community. I'm not sure if I'm believed or not, but yes, it is actually animal interference. Squirrels, they use the wiring to try to sharpen their teeth, sharpen their nails. It's typically fatal for them, but it is also the cause of the outages. I don't know. What is some of the feedback to bring you in this, Sonia, that you receive whenever customers call in? So we try to have our electric outage map available and updated all the time, and updates every 10 minutes to negate some of those inquiries or calls. But what's some of the feedback you receive?
Calls naturally spike during any outage. And of course, the customer wants to know what caused it, but more importantly, when will my power be back on?
Right. Yeah, I get it. People want to watch their Netflix. They want to, get back on their gaming system, things of that nature. We are at the beginning of June, and for those who are unaware, from the top of June until the end of November, it is hurricane season here in North Carolina. Fayetteville PwC does our very best to prepare for severe weather situations and any potential impact that a storm may cause. What are some of the things you can share with us or to share with the listeners that electric operation does to stay ready and prepared?
Like a lot of things at PwC, we train and we practice. So actually just last week, we did a hurricane exercise where the whole company essentially simulated like we were in a hurricane situation, all the way from weather tracking, all the way to ordering hotel rooms for crews, getting food prepped, and setting up the electric system back to as normal as possible. That way, when an actual real event hits, it's more muscle memory than just, we haven't done this in a couple of years because we haven't had a real one, but we're practicing at least twice a year.
Yeah, and to elaborate on what he was speaking about, it was a serious training. Like each department had hour-long, some longer meetings talking about what their specific area was to do. Acting was in full force for each colleague in every department. It wasn't we're just playing. In fact, I had to talk to my supervisor and say, look, I got to make some preparations for my child. And he's like, look, Lamont, this isn't real. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, my bad. I thought it was the real thing. So that's how serious it is. And this was just one of the training exercises that the organization pulled out. We typically continue to do this so people are ready and vigilant. What are some of the biggest challenges your crews face in maintaining or restoring electric service?
During a hurricane or just in general?
I would say just in general.
In general, it's usually trying to get somewhere. So like as most of the public understands, if there is a large outage, that means streetlights are now out. So now it takes our crew, say it's on the far end of the city over by the VA hospital on the other side of town. It takes our crews to drive from PwC all the way over there, but they have to fight traffic just like everybody else is. So we don't have the flashing lights, or people don't pull over off to the side, kind of like emergency crews do. So that is one of our biggest challenges. The other challenge is when it's an underground outage, yes, underground is protected. It's harder to be impacted by squirrels or vehicle accidents, but you can't see what the issue is. So now you have to troubleshoot, where it's a little more reliable in the weather and animal sense, but when something does go wrong, it takes a little bit longer to get back on.
Now you just touched on something that I'd like you to expand on. What are the various types of electric service available to customers?
We have, so you mean like overhead or underground?
Correct.
So for PwC, a lot of our system is overhead, but as we upgrade or build new neighborhoods, we're going in and installing underground service. So that's where all the customers' conductor, the wire is all buried underground. You see the little green boxes down by your end of your driveway, like I got in my house, and that's the transformer. Whereas when it's overhead, you see the transformer up on the top of the pole, and then you got the little twist that looks like a little black and silver line that goes from the pole to the house, and that's kind of how the two separate types of networks we got.
Right, and there's pros and cons to both, I'm sure.
There is.
All right, so with the let me try to see how knowledgeable I am. With the overhead, it's easier to access and get to should there be a situation, as opposed to the underground. You have to go underground to figure out what the issue is, but I'm guessing one might be more expensive than the other as well.
Correct. Overhead is cheaper and easier to troubleshoot. So you can see the pole, you can see the conductor, you can see the insulators, you can see a fuse blown. Now, when it's underground, like I said a little bit ago, everything is buried, so you can't physically see what you're troubleshooting. So it is more reliable in the sense that, like, it's not affected by a lot of things, but when it goes out, it's now you're trying to troubleshoot and open and close switches that are all underground,
Right.
to pick out where the issue is.
Yeah, and talking about service being lost during a storm situation, how do factors like flooding, high winds, fallen trees impact service being restored?
When it's a storm situation, the biggest issue we have is the wind, because as you can imagine, when a crew's 40 to 50 feet up in the air in a bucket, a 20-mile-an-hour wind feels a lot higher when you're up there with no wind block, no buildings or whatever blocking you. So usually the way it works is if we monitor the weather, and at 30 miles an hour, that's when we have to have buckets down, because one, it's unsafe for our guys to work, and two, our buckets actually are only rated to 30 miles an hour. So once you hit 30, it's an unsafe for the crew and it's unsafe for the equipment.
Absolutely. For those who would like to get an opportunity to kind of see some of the preparation, we have a PWC Expo coming up that will focus on electric service. It's going to be held at the Bordeaux Public Library. It's free and open to the public. We'll have some guys available showing you the different equipment and PPE that they put on in order to restore service or provide service. So get an opportunity to come out and check that out, as well as offering our PWC Day, which is a full day of touring the operations. We have separated that as well so that you get a chance to see things from the electric standpoint as well as the water and wastewater side of things. So stay tuned to our website, faypwc.com, so you can get more information on how you can be a part of that. Brandon, I also want to ask you, we see many residents and utility crews working long hours after a storm. They may not realize the level of coordination that it takes, as well as there is an actual process for restoring. How do you guys determine who to restore first? Is there like a order of operation restoration plan?
It kind of depends on where the outage actually happens. A lot of times we like to say we're going to start here and work our way down. So, like, in a perfect world, if there was a substation breaker that opened, we would start with what caused the breaker to open and troubleshoot from the top down and try to restore the most amount of customers at once, and then work our way to the smaller 1 and 2 outages, as we call it.
Okay.
But then we also have the situations where, like, we got Cape Fear Valley Hospital. They do have a generator to run their entire facility. However, we would like to get them back on, because a hospital running on generator power is not an ideal situation for us. So anything that affects them, which they have a very strong infrastructure, we have backup feeds for them that automatically switch if there's an outage on their main feed. But still, at the end of the day, we'd like to get their main feeds back on first.
Yeah. As I would imagine, so that is one of the places that you cannot afford to have them lose service. We've been a little long-winded in this segment. We're getting ready to take our next break, reach out to some of the sponsors for the station. Thank you for all the information you shared. In the next segment, we're going to swing it over to a more customer service base. You're listening to PWC Connections on WIDU Radio. We'll be right back.
This is Pastor Neil of the New Covenant Christian Faith Church Ministries, 5427 Murchison Road, and I am proud to be a member of Wake Up.
Looking for ways to save energy and learn more about your utility services? Join Fayetteville PWC at the Free Power and Water Conservation Expo Friday, June 26th from 11 until 3 at Bordeaux Public Library. Stop by anytime for energy-saving tips, giveaways, and to meet PWC experts. Don't miss it. Visit faypwc.com for details.
I'm Lady Patricia Campbell, and you are listening to Wake Up.
As the U.S. approaches the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, Americans remain proud of their country but pessimistic about the health and future of the American democracy. That's according to a new National Elon University poll. President Donald Trump is dismissing the idea that launching the war with Iran betrayed the refrain of no new wars as he campaigned for the White House in 2024. He tells NBC's Meet the Press that he didn't guarantee there would be no wars if elected again. Israel and Iran traded fire early on Monday in retaliatory strikes that threatened to drag the Middle East back into a full-scale regional war, while Yemen's Houthi rebels also fired at Israel and warned they would target Israeli-affiliated ships in the Red Sea. Crews in Halifax County have located the body of a kayaker who went missing last month on Roanoke Rapids Lake. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. A quick note from Cumberland County Schools. The last day of school for year-round calendar students is tomorrow, Tuesday, June 9th. Schools will be dismissed 2 hours early. The city says summer is here. The community pools and splash pads are officially open for the season. Cool off, have fun, make a splash all summer long. Please note that Chalmers Pool is temporarily closed. The city of Fayetteville says more and more guns in North Carolina are being stolen out of parked cars. They say you should secure your firearm with a lock or case, hide it from view, and lock your vehicle every time. Last week, Mayor Mitch Colvin presented the key to the city to Michelle Smith Reardon in honor of her retirement and in grateful recognition of her dedication and commitment to the residents of Fayetteville. Michelle has dedicated over 25 years of her career to serving the community. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
Good Monday morning. We start your day with partly cloudy skies and temperatures very mild in the mid-70s. We'll see extra cloud cover by this afternoon. Highs will be hot, reaching the mid-90s, and we'll have a chance for some isolated showers and a few storms. We're then mostly cloudy overnight into our Tuesday morning, with temperatures a bit cooler in the mid-60s. We'll only reach to around 90 degrees on Tuesday with extra cloud cover. We'll have some brief showers possible, but not a big rain chance. I'm meteorologist Grant Skinner in the NCN Weather Center.
Bless the Lord. I'm Dr. Ann T. Newell, pastor of the Soul Harvest Apostolic Church, the church not just there in the community, but there for the community of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We're looking for more than a few good men and women to join the team. Iron sharpeneth iron. We may have what you need. You may have what we need. Catch the vision. Join the team. Join Wake Up.
We're back. You're listening to PWC Connections on WIDU Radio. We've been on for a little bit of time now talking about our affordable, safe, reliable electric service. We have Mr. Brandon Hughesman and Sonia Legale as our guests for today's show. In the top of the show, we were getting listeners more familiar with them, and we just asked Brandon a host of questions about electric operations. So now we're going to swing it over to Sonia and see if we can talk a little bit about some of the resources provided through customer service, our online account manager, time of use rates, and see if we can get her to share some conservation tips with us as well. So Sonia, for our listeners who may not be familiar with our customer service department, if you would share a little bit about some of the services that your team offers and how customers can get an assist on a daily basis.
We are basically where PWC meets the public.
Front porch.
Absolutely. If you have a need for more time with a payment, we help with that. If you are moving services to a different location, we help with that. If you are starting services, we help with that.
If you need to know which services you have.
Yes, because we don't provide all services in all areas.
That's very key.
Yes. If it's a new construction situation, we get you to where you need to be. So we're basically where you come into the house.
Yeah.
We resolve everything we can, and if it's something that needs to go to a specialty department, we get you there. For instance, solar, or new construction, or annexation.
Right. Now, being so experienced in this area, what are some of the common questions or concerns that come your way?
Right now, the top concern is, why is my bill so high? What can I do to reduce my bill?
And what do you share?
Everything.
How do you answer that question?
First, I look at their usage over the year, because on the bill, page 2, it will show the breakdown every month. For power, if they have a power with us, for water, if they have water with us, or both, if they have both services with us. And we'll see what their average is for the high months in winter, and winter is always higher than summer because there's a greater temperature difference between the inside and outside. And then summer, what the average is for that. And then we look at ways that we can help manage services better. Many people know about the time of use rates, but let's face it, we're in North Carolina. There are times in December I was in my short sleeves because it was so warm, so it didn't feel like winter and winter time of use rates.
Right.
Okay, so I'll go over the time of use rates with them. Of course, summer, April to October, peak time from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. Now, break that down a little bit for someone who's listening for the first time, has never heard the term time of use or has an understanding of what those rates are. Now, with that, you just gave us a 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
That's peak time.
Sure.
And that is 14 cents, about 14 cents per kilowatt hour, rounding up to the nearest cent.
Okay.
Off-peak time, 9 cents per kilowatt hour. So you want to avoid doing anything that's energy intensive during peak time.
Very well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. We normally talk about the percentage that during that peak time is 35% more than the other 21 hours of the day. But for you to break it down cent-wise, I'm sure that's going to resonate more with our listeners. So for 7 days of the week during this summer peak time, those 3 hours that if you can avoid or if you can shift your consumption to the other 21 hours of the day, you're paying about 9 cents per kilowatt as opposed to 14 cents.
Correct. And winter time, which is November to March, peak time is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. The rates are the same, but the time slot is very different.
Right. Now, I have a theory. I believe a lot of our customers feel their electric service or utility service should be billed kind of similar to their cell phone service. If I haven't gone over my minutes, if I haven't called internationally, if I haven't gone past my text plan, my bill kind of stays the same. Well, with my electric service, I haven't changed anything on my thermostat. So why is my bill fluctuating outside, not knowing all the factors? It seems like it's a constant education process.
It is, but there's one thing that is never taught to anybody, not in school, not by your parents. Our society is built on convenience. Convenience and comfort.
Right.
Your hot water heater is always running. There are other countries where you actually have a hot water heater you have to turn on before you can take a hot shower.
Mm-hmm.
Ours are always running. On demand. Our lamps are on demand. Our microwave's on demand. Our range is always plugged in, ready to go. Other countries, you can turn the outlets off. And for cooking, they may just use a rice cooker and a plug-in grill or a plug-in skillet. So their things aren't always plugged in as much. Many countries don't have a AC unit. They'll have heat, but no air conditioning. And a lot of people don't realize how many people in other countries die from the heat. We don't have those issues. Our stuff is ready to go at all times. Well, there is a price for that because everything that is plugged in and is ready to go is going to use power. And you may have gas for your heat, and you wonder why your bill went up in the wintertime when you have gas heat. The motor that blows that hot air throughout your house is run off electricity. So you will still have those expenses. Every lamp that you have plugged in, even if you're not using it because it is on demand, still uses power. Your lamps, your chargers for your phones, tablets, laptops, so wherever you have a charger plugged in every room of the house, every one of them is using power. The scenty things in the wall, Airwick or whichever brand you use, all still use power. The microwave that you have plugged in still is using power. The coffee maker uses power. Everything you have plugged in uses power. So if it's something that you do not need, as far as the microwave, coffee maker, extra TVs, lamps, and don't get me wrong, I understand the lamp thing. I have beautiful lamps in my living room, okay? Got them from my parents. They're beautiful. Got them when they were overseas. And I'm here to tell you those lamps look just as beautiful unplugged as they do plugged in. I'm only plugging them in if I'm sitting there crocheting. Otherwise, they are unplugged.
You're preaching, and I'm glad you're doing it in such a calming voice as well. I hope our listeners are picking up what you're putting down. There's a cost to the convenience.
But they can beat that by modifying some things. We all know that a crock pot, Instapot, air fryer use less power than a range. And a lot of people don't use crock pots anymore. I remember when they were very popular in the 70s, and I'm dating myself, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing is I'll go online to the Food Network or All Recipes and decide how many days I want to eat this meatloaf or that chicken and dumplings or that spaghetti or that fajita casserole. And I adjust the serving size for how many days I want. Me, I want to have a month worth of food in the refrigerator and freezer cooked, okay? So I'll go ahead, fry it up on a Friday night, your protein with the seasonings, put more seasonings, the veg, the meat, and whatever carb I'm using in the crock pot. I will have 5 crock pots going up one time on a Friday night. Saturday morning, I'm bagging it up. Serving size portions. Putting it in the freezer. That means I'm using my range one day a month. You can do that with breakfast muffins. You can do that with breakfast casserole. Then from there on, you're just using the microwave. And that helps drop your expenses. I found out my dryer was running me $45 a month. Nothing I love better than doing laundry. It makes the house smell good. I love doing laundry. But my dryer was costing me some money, and I found that out when my dryer went out, and I got it replaced, and my bill went back up. I said, wait a minute, because it's not unusual for me to do 3-4 loads a week. I love doing laundry. I decided, okay, I'm going to have to work something out. My clothes never see the inside of a dryer. They hang up in the house to dry. Towels and other things, or when the weather's beautiful, I'll hang everything outside. The only thing that sees the inside of a dryer, blankets. That's it. And that helped reduce my costs.
You're giving up more than conservation tips. You're teaching people how to live. I mean, this is great stuff. Before we move on to the next segment or to the next part of the show, if you could tell us a little bit about our online account manager, the mobile app and some of the options that are available to customers, some of the tools that they can use to stay connected to their accounts?
I definitely recommend looking at your online account a minimum of once a week. You can see where your usage is because it'll break it down daily, weekly, monthly, but it will also break it down to peak time and off-peak time. You may not remember a week or two later what you were doing on a certain day, but you will remember 2 or 3 days ago what you were doing at that time. That's how I got my average bill down from $240 to $195. That's money, that's gas money, that's grocery money. Any way you look at it. The other part of that is if you have water with us, leaks are insidious. They start off small, they don't stay small. They can induce panic. When you have the ability to look at your account online, you can see the usage start to creep up. The most common type of leak is a toilet leak. Sometimes you hear it, sometimes you don't with the way everyone's working. Typically, you really don't. But that will show you what you're using. You notice it creeping up, you know you've got an issue somewhere that needs to be addressed. And that way you can get it addressed before you wind up with a $500 or $600, $700 water and sewer bill. Yes, a running toilet can run up your bill $1,000 a month. Fix it, call us, see if we can request an adjustment off a portion of the water usage and a portion of the wastewater usage. Some people just have water with us and not wastewater, but still, get it taken care of so we can help you, so you don't have that really high bill.
Very well said. I mean, this is Sonia Legati, ladies and gentlemen. She'll be here all week, twice on Fridays. You can reach out to our customer service line at 910-483-1382. And our website is also a great resource, faypwc.com. We're going to take our last break and then come back with some reminders, things that you should know for the rest of the month. You're listening to PWC Connections on WIDU Radio.
As the U.S. approaches the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, Americans remain proud of their country but pessimistic about the health and future of the American democracy. That's according to a new National Elon University poll. President Donald Trump is dismissing the idea that launching the war with Iran betrayed the refrain of no new wars as he campaigned for the White House in 2024. He tells NBC's Meet the Press that he didn't guarantee there would be no wars if elected again. Israel and Iran traded fire early on Monday in retaliatory strikes that threatened to drag the Middle East back into a full-scale regional war, while Yemen's Houthi rebels also fired at Israel and warned they would target Israeli-affiliated ships in the Red Sea. Crews in Halifax County have located the body of a kayaker who went missing last month on Roanoke Rapids Lake. Mike Rayleigh, NCI News.
It's one of life's simplest comforts. Turning on the tap and knowing clean, safe water's there. A glass before bed, a warm shower in the morning, water to cook, clean, and care for loved ones. So often, it's something that can be taken for granted. But behind every drop is a commitment to quality, safety, and service. At Fayetteville PWC, providing award-winning water is more than a service. It is a responsibility and a point of pride. Delivering clean, reliable water remains a top priority for Fayetteville and surrounding communities every single day, because clean water supports healthy families, strengthens neighborhoods, and helps communities thrive today and for generations to come. Discover more about the difference quality water makes at faypwc.com. Fayetteville PWC, always there, always on, always built to serve.
Welcome back. We've had a very informative edition of PWC Connections here on WIDU Radio for the month of June 2026. We've been talking about preparations needed for safe, reliable, affordable electric service. We've also shared some of the resources available through our customer service center, how you can utilize your online account manager, conservation tips. We talked a little bit about time of use rate. So if you're just now tuning in, please go back to the WIDU Facebook page and get a recap of today's episode. Before we get out of here, I want to provide some quick reminders and give our guests an opportunity to have some closing words. As we talked about a little bit during this edition, time of use rates, a reminder, we're in summer peak hours right now all the way until the end of October. So the time when the electric rate is slightly higher, or 35% higher to be more precise, is 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So if you can shift your consumption, we would advise you to do so. If you need some tips or recommendations, you can visit our website, faypwc.com, to get you started, give you some ideas on things you can do to help save on your bill. We're also in the midst of hurricane season. It started June 1. It's going to run until the end of November. So right now is a good time to go to our Storm Central page on our website. Prepare your 72-hour emergency preparation kit, things that you may need should a storm come our way, so you'll stay prepared for at least 3 days. They always say the first 72 is on you. So should we lose service, you'll have these things prepared to help you sustain yourself until we can get efforts back running as normal. So that would be your food, water, medication, perhaps some batteries, even some cash on hand. And there's several other tips and advice that can be provided. Also know that our storm preparation guide for this year was just recently released. We have a digital edition available, so you can go to our website and get that as well. We're also providing tips on our medical priority program. So should you need life-sustaining equipment, there are things that you can do to let our utility know that we need to get our service restored to you as soon as possible. So again, visit our website. I talked a little bit about this also coming up for June 26th, the last Friday in June. We're going to be hosting a PWC Expo. It's completely free and open to the public from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Bordeaux Public Library. It is a floating event, so it's structured for you to be able to drop by whenever you can. So if you can't make it at the start at 11 o'clock, that's fine. You'll still be able to get the same experience if you show up at 2 o'clock. And we'll be there until 3 p.m. Again, completely free. It's an opportunity for you to talk with some of our staff, get some information, pick up some free conservation giveaways, including a free LED light bulb. Also, another event that we have going on in the community is our Public Works Art Exhibition. It is at downtown 301 Hay Street, the Arts Council. Another free, open to the public event. Opening night was May 29th. The exhibition is going to run until July 5th. You get an opportunity to see some of the artwork that was presented by some of our local artists. They have 127 pieces down there. Very festive. Please get a chance to go check it out if you can. Want to remind our listeners also of our utility assistance resources. This is something that's also available on our website for you to get that information. We have several partners in the community that are offering assistance, so you can go on there and find out what is needed for you to get assistance should you need assistance. Don't wait until the last minute. There's things available. Now, before I get out of here, Brandon, I want to give you the opportunity to give some closing words, and then I'll swing it over to Sonia.
No, kind of like you said with storm preparation, now's the time to prepare, not in the middle of a storm. So like we do, we practice before the storm, not in the middle of a storm. So that's my biggest recommendation for folks while we're in hurricane season is make sure you're prepared, and if you got questions, just reach out.
And he meant like how his team does, not like we do the radio station. I don't know if y'all caught that. All right, Sonia, any closing words?
Yes, don't ever be embarrassed or ashamed to call if you need help or you need an extension. If you know on your due date or the day before or a week before, call us so we can help you. Don't ever feel embarrassed or ashamed. Everybody is hurting right now. Everybody needs help. Not everybody says anything, though. So just reach out, because we'll work with you every way we can. We'll work with you. Also, if you're in the situation where you need some help, reach out to DSS Action Pathways, Fayetteville Urban Ministries, Connections of Cumberland County. They don't know you need help unless you reach out to them. So please reach out to them. And there's one other little trick that I use, because I don't want to have to think, well, it's because we always work all day. And with customer care, you're on call, so if something happens, you're called in and you go back on the phones, even on, nights and weekends. I know that after 6 p.m., it doesn't matter what time of year it is off-peak. Housework in my home starts after 6 p.m. Cooking after 6 p.m. Vacuuming after 6 p.m. Laundry after 6 p.m. Showers after 6 p.m. Anything that uses power more than the minimum after 6 p.m.
Great advice. All right, our next edition of PwC Connections will be on Monday, July 13th. We're going to hopefully get an opportunity to speak with some of our summer interns and other Icon students. I want to thank our guests, Brandon, Sonia, for making time and sharing the insight information that you did share with our listeners. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us as well and being a co-host today. And of course, we want to thank our listeners and the WIDU radio station for this platform and the opportunity for us to connect to the community. We're signing out of here. We'll be back on Monday, July 13th. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.